So what does imposter syndrome and getting your business out there and in front of people have to do with each other? That's what we're talking about on this episode of SchlickArt TV. Hey guys, it's Brian and Lindsay Schlick with SchlickArt, and this is episode number 11 of SchlickArt TV.
Aw, 11.
We're going to flash to a picture of our cat, who's also named 11. We are talking about how to get your business out there, especially when you're first starting out, but even if you're not just first starting out. So let's just dive into the first question. When we were first starting out, what was some of the things that we did and you did to get our business out into our community?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is also perfect timing for these questions, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of change happening at SchlickArt, which we will be sharing with you soon. Sorry to give you a bit of a cliffhanger there, but there's a lot of amazing things happening over here this summer, and we're looking forward to these changes, and we're looking forward to sharing them with you. But it's also bringing up like some nostalgic moments and some, thoughts of how far we've come. And, we're very much feeling the, up, down, up, down, up, down of like a business. But after, what are we on, 13 years?
13.
It is this, but it's like this version of this, of like, and it's really interesting to see. But with that said, going back to where we first started and how we got the business out there, we were starting a business from scratch in a town that we didn't grow up in.
Mm-hmm.
We moved here in 2007. We started our business in 2012. And as much as we lived and worked here in the Santa Clarita community, I don't think we knew it as a community, did we? We knew it as a really nice place to live and work. We didn't even know that Santa Clarita had such an amazing community spirit, right? And that all these businesses worked together, matriculated together, helped each other, supported nonprofits. We had no idea. And so with that said, starting a business, it wasn't like we chose to act a particular way based on the area that we were living in. We didn't know what we didn't know, right? So I would have done the same thing if I was in a different town or a different place, regardless, because it was just what I knew to do, right? Which, with that said, I basically put myself out there. We decided to sit down probably one weekend. I think we sat by the pool one weekend.
That sounds right.
And we wrote down who we are as a business, what we wanted as a business, where we wanted to go, who we wanted to serve, how we wanted to serve them. We very much leaned into our service background because both Brian and I had worked in service prior to owning SchlickArt. And that was very important to us to serve our clients. We didn't want to sell to our clients. We didn't want to be transactional with our clients. We literally wanted to serve and help people. And so we wrote all these things, and then we were like, okay, so how are we going to make connections here? And what are we going to do to show other businesses that we are here, and therefore show the community that we were here, and having other businesses have our back, so to speak. So when we were done with, designing what SchlickArt was going to be, we then wrote a list of, I think it was like 20 or 30 businesses in Santa Clarita that their core values aligned with ours, right? And we made this list, and we made some postcards for basically a complimentary session fee for whatever shoot you wanted, whether that was headshots, whether that was a family shoot, whether that was, at the time we did a signature women's shoot. And we said, okay, you're just going to drive over to these businesses, walk in, have a little gumption, and introduce yourself and say, hey, I want to support your business. If you want to support mine, I want to give you these free gift cards for you to give your clients as a thank you. And we played the role of marketing law, which is you asked X amount of people, X amount will say yes, but actually only X amount will actually do it. So I think I played the role of let's say I walked into 10 businesses in one day, which I think I did. I set myself a goal. I had to go see 10 businesses in one day. And 7 of them would say yes, but 4 of them would actually only do it. And as long as I lived with that in my heart, I was like, you can't get mad at the rejection because that is the law. Like, don't fixate on somebody's rejection. Don't fixate on the emotional fact that they said no. They were just one of the 3 that was supposed to say no. They were one of the 7 that was supposed to say yes, but didn't do it. Yeah. And I played that role. And I remember sitting in the car in the Bridgeport parking lot outside YogaWorks, and YogaWorks had just come to Santa Clarita, so they were finding their footing as well. Obviously, they were a much bigger company than we were. They had locations in Santa Monica and downtown LA and what have you. And but they were new to Santa Clarita, and the staff were new to Santa Clarita, and the manager was new to Santa Clarita. So that, I think his name was Jeff from YogaWorks, was still finding his footing as well. And I walked in terrified and just went up the stairs and said hello. And he was so happy to see me. He was just such a nice person who, again, I think he was very much just trying to figure his own way out. And we ended up sitting, and I think we talked for like an hour. And I offered to do some blog posts on YogaWorks and help support them if they would give away my gift cards. And every single new person that signed up for YogaWorks, in the packet that they gave them, they put in my gift certificate. So it was like a gift for a new member of YogaWorks to come and get a headshot with us. And that was like just one of the 10 people that said yes. And it's really interesting because I had this rule of like 10 people I'll go and see, 7 will say yes, but actually only 4 will do what we want them to do. All 7 did what we wanted them to do. All 7 said yes, all 7 gave our gift cards out, all 7 became close partners with us. All 7, ended up in our like networking groups, and we were all finding our footing together. And it was literally just because I had the gumption. I wasn't doing anything that anybody else couldn't have done. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I wasn't doing anything groundbreaking. I was just having the bravity to go and just say, hi, I'm Lindsay Schlick, and I own SchlickArt, and this is how I can help. Yeah,
I think there's kind of two important points to kind of take away from that. One being that, ask for the type of people that you want to work with, whether that's clients or like power partners or anything like that. If you don't ask, it's probably not going to happen. It's not just going to magically manifest itself, hoping that YogaWorks or whatever business is going to want to become your partner. They may not know you exist, you may not know they exist, but if there is somebody out there you want to work with, whether that's clients or power partners, go ask for it, right? That's like a huge lesson we've learned over the years, is that, if you see somebody doing something really cool, or a business doing something really cool that you want to help, or whatever partnership it is for you and your business, I think it's a great way to kind of get out there. Just go out and ask them, right? And go out and tell them how much you want to work with them, right? In the early days too, when you created these kind of partnerships for not only for our business, but kind of for yourself, right? To have a little bit of a community. I think what came of that, which was, I don't think the original intention, but it became a positive, unexpected result, is that we kind of started forming groups, which at the time we called it a SWAT group, which is
strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
So we created a group around this where we had other business owners that might have been early in their careers, or might have not been early in their careers, or maybe they had just started their business or had been in their business for a while, but just kind of were maybe on their own or didn't have anybody else to bounce ideas off of. And it became like a really cool group of, I don't know, maybe 10 or so that we got together maybe once a month. I can't remember the exact details, but it was something like once a month. And we would all talk through, hey, I'm having this issue within my business. What's some of the ways that we can kind of help each other solve it? And it wasn't necessarily like, hey, I need your help to like fix it for me. It's just like, I need to talk through it because I have nobody else to talk through it with, right? And it was such an important and valuable tool for us to kind of not only be able to air our problems, but to actually hear other people's problems and go, oh, that could be a problem for us someday. This is what we would do to solve it if it becomes a problem, right? So
this was literally another lesson that I just learned or relearned last week, because sometimes you have to be reminded about lessons, but like you have a perspective and you're sitting in your perspective, kind of, you know, soaking in it like a warm bath of this is how this is. And somebody else comes along and goes, but that's amazing for you. That's really, really great. And I was like, no, that's not my perspective. And they're like, yeah, but look at all these amazing opportunities that come from that thing. And you're like, oh, I never even looked at it from the opposite. You know, it's the glass is half full, the glass is half empty. I'm sitting around, walking around going, you know, the glass is half empty, the glass is half empty. And somebody's going, wow, at least your glass is half full, you know? And that was definitely those SWAT groups.
Yeah.
And it was really, really great to see how we could each just support each other and help each other through that. And then those people became our clients, we became their clients, and it grew and grew and grew into what we now know as the Santa Clarita community. So let me ask you a question. How do you think those strength building groups and those SWAT groups with other businesses have evolved into what we do here at SchlickArt now with our strategic planning sessions?
Yeah, I think it really kind of helped build that kind of not only confidence in us to know that we were heading in that right direction and evolving into that, but it also showed that it also taught us a lot of lessons, right? Because we were hearing people's issues, we were airing our own issues, both in some cases positive and negative, and then kind of learning from that and integrating it into our business, which then allowed us to kind of go, oh, that actually does work, right? What practice we put in place does work, which allowed us to then start having bigger conversations with other businesses. And that would have been maybe a client just simply coming in for a headshot session, right? That goes, hey, I'm struggling with this thing, I'm struggling with that thing, or I really hate social media, or whatever it may be. What can I do in this situation? And we, 99 times out of 100, had an answer for them to be able to help walk them through that process, right? Yeah. And what that kind of eventually evolved into is that people were then coming to us just for strategy, and maybe still coming for headshots or still coming for video, but still just coming for that strategy session to be able to like bounce ideas off of us and help us guide them through the kind of different layers of their business, right?
And I feel like we lived it.
Yeah.
We lived it. We didn't know what we were doing.
When we started, we had no clue,
We had no idea. And I would, you know, we're both well-educated people. We went to college. We both have a marketing background. We live in marketing. What we were doing as a business was marketing, but we still had no idea what we were doing. And we've had conversations with, you know, people who have MBAs in finance and business, and it's like, great, you understand the theory. We all understand the theory. But to actually sit down and do it and then practice it every day and put yourself out there every day, we all then have those moments of like, I can't possibly do that because it's not going to work. And it's like, you don't know until you actually try. And I think being part of those SWAT groups and doing the work with other people who are also doing the work we've just been a natural case study for ourselves and for our clients, helping our clients.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that goes with that is that most of the strategy and things that we do is very practical, right? It's not a dream idea that is going to take hundreds of thousands of dollars to accomplish. It's real practical ideas that people can kind of start actioning now,
implementing,
to make sure that they're reaching those goals that they're trying to reach, and then build on that year after year or quarter after quarter or whatever it is, however often we're meeting with them, is that we want to be able to give people like real practical advice that they can use and implement and know that we are their kind of like backing team that's cheering them on and helping them along the way when they need it, right?
Or beyond that, if they're like, I am the business owner and I don't have time to do all this marketing, we're like, okay, we can take it for you.
Yeah.
We can take it for you. We're building a strategy with you. We're making decisions of what this looks like over the course of the next year.
Yeah.
We're mapping it out, and then you're delegating it to us if that's what you need. Yeah.
So as we kind of evolved through partnerships and building our business and things like that, how did that evolve into getting you or getting us onto things like panels or doing speaking engagements? And what was some of kind of the benefits of being able to do that?
To be honest, I remember speaking at various networking events pretty much from the get-go. I think, the great thing of being part of a community here in Santa Clarita is there are so many networking events, so many networking opportunities. And if you are a sense of authority in a particular field, or you have, a certain background that other people don't have, we share information, right? And we love sharing information. I love learning from, financial people. I love learning from attorneys. I love learning from business owners and investors who are, in a different place than I am. And, a lot of those same people love learning from us because they're like, marketing is not my strength, right? And we always had that as a background. And plus, from all the positions that we held before we owned SchlickArt, they were all extremely strategic, or, they had a policy in place. And we're very policy and procedure driven. We're very, all our tasks are organized and written out so that we know where to go for many different reasons. Time saving, doing this, making sure every client gets the same experience as the client previously. Working in the service industry is all strategy and policy and procedures so that every single client gets the same experience. And so, that was our strength. And, getting to know the community, when we were asked to speak, I think the first year that we were in business, because people were like, we don't know how to do that, and you know how to do that. Can you put a presentation together for us for this? And I'm like, yeah, of course I can. It never even occurred to us when we were starting our business that would be something that we would do. But it was a no-brainer. And, now it's evolved into many different, speaking opportunities where we've gone to speak to, real estate brokers and real estate agents. And we've gone to speak to, legal teams or financial teams, or the Women's Expo, or, the Chamber, Small Business Council, Influence Her, Lean In. There's so many, opportunities where we've been asked to go to so many different places. And we love doing it because, again, it's like, I very much believe in that. You give with the right, receive with the left of, what you put out there, you get back. And, if I can support somebody in this realm, like they can support me in this realm. And it's just all of us, again, as a community, supporting one another.
Yeah, I think when, we were talking about core values and things earlier in the episode, one of those core values that we kind of latched onto early on was support our community, right? And that's how we kind of see some of these speaking events, right? Is being able to support our community, because you're giving back your time to talk about something that you may be an expert in, or you have some advice to give people that might be useful to help them in their own business, or whatever the speaking engagement's about. And that goes a long way with people, right? It goes a long way to show that you actually care, that you care about your community, and you're trying to help other businesses grow as well. And it does have the added benefit of that then people understand a little bit better about what we do as a business and how we interact with our clients and things like that. But the reason why we do it in the first place is to support our community. And that's something we really love to do. So early on in the episode, you mentioned a specific word or phrase, which is imposter syndrome. So let's dive into that a little bit. Tell me about what happens when you start having imposter syndrome.
So I believe I actually have more imposter syndrome now than I did, 13 years ago when we started SchlickArt. So, 13 years ago when we started SchlickArt, I was still in my 20s, just in, and I feel like when you're younger, you're a lot braver. You're willing to take more risks. You're willing to try more things. Less is at stake as well. Or so it feels. Yeah. Again, these are all the conversations that we have in our heads to justify the feelings that we're having, right? And now as we've grown, and we've grown so rapidly and so well, and to a place where we want to be, but we're also, comfortable. And, when you take risk now, it feels like there's more at stake, and that there's, the good days and bad days kind of hit you a little differently than they did when you were in your 20s to now being in your 40s. And we're still going to carry on, and we're still going to take care of our clients, and we're still going to do all the things, but those moments do creep in and make you lose your confidence. And for me, when they creep in, first of all, I talk about this with you a lot of I need a moment to lick my wounds, don't I? When I'm having one of those moments, it does rock me a little bit, and I need, and luckily you give me the grace to do that.
I've learned over the years.
That I need a day or so to lick my wounds. When something throws us a curveball, or something happens, or the climate isn't quite right, or you get in the weeds of listening to outside opinions that really don't matter, that are not affecting you in any kind of way, shape, or form, you get rocked, and I need that day or so and I call it licking my wounds. Just give me the day to lick my wounds and to just sit in my emotions for a day or what have you. But then I get to work. If you give me that day, I get to work. And to me, what that looks like is concentrating on the things that I can control. I will bring my life and make my life small whilst I work on the things that I can control, to then come back stronger, right? And, so that might be, as simple as, again, always reminding myself that I'm here to serve each and every client, not gravitate towards the big problems that can't be fixed. You have to literally just take one moment at a time. And be in the moment with each of those clients. And I love that. And it's the one thing that is always a constant in my life, is to serve the client that is in front of me now, right? And I will always do that.
Yeah, I think one of the things too for imposter syndrome specifically is that we're lucky enough that we have each other, right? We can rely on each other when someone's not feeling great and the other person is, and vice versa, right?
And we can talk to each other about it.
And we can talk to each other about it. And so, but for people that are kind of on their own or have their own business that maybe their partner isn't involved in, or they don't have a partner, whatever it is, that kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier, the growing those partnerships and having those people in your life that you can rely on to kind of walk you through and help you through those imposter syndrome moments or whatever they end up being. But it's really important that you have sounding boards and people that you can not only trust but rely on, and that are actually giving you really good sound advice. Is super, super important. And I feel like we naturally have that built in, but then sometimes we also have to reach out to some of our power partners and go for a lunch or go have a meeting with them, or just give them a call and talk to them about hey, what would you do in this situation? Because we all need that advice sometimes. There's people out there that are willing to help you, that have been through it before, and want to kind of help you through whatever issue you're going through, right?
Yeah, and if I constantly stayed in my head and didn't have somebody to communicate, hey, this is going on with me. Are you feeling this too? Are you feeling this? And sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm totally feeling this, and this is what I think we should do about it. Yeah. Or you're like, no, I'm not feeling this at all. what do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
Or, you know, snap out of it because we're going to do X, Y, and Z. You know, we have to create motion, right? Mm-hmm. When I am in my head, or you're in your head, and we are like, it is static. It is like you're stuck in your head repeating the same thing over and over again and not actually going anywhere, right? So we have to create some sort of physical like action, whether that is doing a new campaign, whether that is going to talk to somebody, whether that is getting in the gym and just working it out, or, you know, you and I sitting down and having a strategic planning session. Mm-hmm. That action just completely changes the playing field to start again. It really, really does.
And I think that's the second piece that kind of helped us kind of dial in the strategy session service that we offer, is to help kind of combat that, right? Not only combat that within ourselves and like make sure that we're, you know, doing all the correct things within our own business to help market, but that's how we help other business owners, right? Is that we help them. I know imposter syndrome isn't something that everybody necessarily deals with, but it's one of the elements that kind of comes through a lot of our strategy sessions that we can kind of help people get pushed in the right direction.
Yeah. And a lot of those people come in here because they have been in their heads for a long time and not having somebody to really, you know, sound this out with and see the other perspective. And, you know, they're inside their own box and, you know, somebody else just needs to come in and pluck them out of it, and they haven't got that. And so it's really great. It's the accountability side. Yeah. So what would you say to a person who's either starting a business or is in the middle of their business and having, like, you know, a imposter syndrome moment, or, you know, a lull in their space and are feeling a little down about it? What advice would you give to somebody if they asked?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple different things, right? Is that number one, if you don't already have an accountability partner, to find one, and find one fairly quickly, especially somebody you trust and can actually rely on to kind of talk things out with you and give you different perspective and have your best interest at heart. You know, find things like networking groups or build your own network to kind of like rally around you and kind of help you through your problems when you need them, and you be able to help them with their problems when they need them. Or you can hire coaches. Like, we do things like strategic planning here, that we love helping businesses when they're in these moments of struggle, or when they're just starting out and don't know what to do to get to, like, say, the next level or build even further. We do strategic planning with you, but hiring a coach is huge because it's just somebody that gives you that kind of outside perspective to kind of see things from a different way than you're seeing them, or they've seen through their own experiences and can help walk you through that. So that's a huge one. It's an investment for sure, but it's valuable to help grow your business and become what you want it to be.
And know this, you know, if you did come for a strategic planning session with us, we don't just come with just us. We come with a network of people to take you to the next level. So we've had, you know, people who need to understand financially where they're heading, and they need forecasting, and we've connected, you know, that person with the right person. We have strategists for bigger companies. One of our friends, Mark Emma, is a strategist for, you know, big corporations that are around the 20 million mark, and, you know, we love mentioning him and to follow him, and, you know, he'll come and speak to you, he'll come and speak to your staff. We have a network that comes with us so that we can build this strategy for you, but then send you in the right direction so that you get the help you need. You know, if it's, you know, beyond our services and onto the next person, or we're just moving you laterally across because you need, you know, a better web designer, or somebody who's great at Google Ads, or somebody who's great at building a brand. You know, we have all those in our toolkit. Yeah. Definitely. Well, this was awesome.
This is a great episode. I really liked it.
Yes, I did too. I love being a little vulnerable and talking about the things that all business owners go through, right? So, well, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed episode number 11. 11 the cat.
Thanks for watching, guys.